Hi, my name is Kristen, and this is my vision board. I'm realizing now that I should probably flip it like this so that the video will actually be good for YouTube, which I plan on posting it to. Because, something occurred to me as I was watching videos. I was watching Best Dressed, Ashley, don't know her last name, but she's fantastic on YouTube. And I did like a little bit of a deep dive. I love her Instagram. Well, first off, I just love her as a person. Based off of what I see of her in her videos and her captions on Instagram. She just like reminds me of one of my best friends, and so I just enjoy her so much. But because I enjoy her so much, I was like, let me just see what she's doing. Like, let's see where she started, because I think it's easy as someone who's kind of starting from the ground up to feel like, how do I ever get to the point of the people that I admire? Like, how do I gain success? But not only how do I gain success, how do I feel like fulfilled and accomplished in that success? Because I want to gain success that I feel like I've merited. So I was like, let's do a deep dive into her profile. I looked back at her like oldest videos, at her oldest Instagram posts, and the biggest thing that I saw between them is just like, growth takes time. I can't emphasize that enough to myself, that like it's so like it's just so easy to get bogged down. And I'm literally filming this all while, so you're gonna get a great look at my vision board. But like, it's so easy to get bogged down by the feeling of needing instant gratification and expecting things to happen quickly. And then when you actually take the time to research the background and all the work that goes into the people and the systems and the things that we see that are so successful, it like takes a lot of work. And so I'm so happy for her that she grew to where she is, because she deserves it. And then I also think that if I practice things that are good, I will grow to a place where I also deserve the things that I am trying to manifest. So like, we're just gonna go through my vision board real quick. So hello, this is my vision board. It is a mix. So the actual board that it's on, I got in high school. I used to be obsessed with Paris, France, and then that manifested in me learning French. And although I am not nearly as fluent as I should be after having spoken the language for like 7+ years, I sound like I'm really good at mimicking sounds. So like, I've been able with few words to be like, oh yeah, like she sounds like she could be like a little French or whatever. So that was a tangent, but the board that I got it on was baby Kristen's love of France. So it's actually a map of the banlieues, which is like the neighborhoods of Paris. But anyway, the things that matter are the things that I've written on my board. So the main part of the board here is basically just like the like general things that I would like to accomplish, and general things as well as kind of like mantras. So I am proud of you. Like, that's not something that you accomplish, or it's, I guess pride in oneself is, but it's more of just like, let me put this here to repeat for myself. I am proud of you. You are and will always be enough. Because self-esteem is an issue that all of us deal with to some degree. And I've had a trying time of it throughout my lifetime thus far. So I needed to have a very large space to remember that you can do this. I believe in you. Trust the process. Again, to go back to the feelings that I had when it came to recognizing how growth actually happens, you just got to trust the process. Like, it's important to, always be learning and staying curious so that you develop new ways and better ways to get to where you want to go. Maybe like incrementally faster, because again, we're not trying to like shoot so far off so quickly that like your trajectory, you're just not going to land anywhere near. All right, my phone gave out on me, so like I was a tangent anyway, so it's fine. But yes, it's important to trust the process. So the notes that I wrote that are on these nice little colorful strips above and to the side, I had a crafting day with a friend of mine from a job that I don't work at now, but like it's still a wonderful place, I guess. And then it's also like she's really wonderful too. So I made these, I was just like playing around with her watercolor paints, and I didn't love, I'm not at all learned in the art of watercoloring enough to have actually painted something. So I was just kind of playing around with like color, and I ended up creating, these are rip strips of what were the final pieces that, like, at the time I was just like, I have no idea what I want to do with these, because like they don't really feel like anything. But then what I discovered is if you rip them up and you put good mantras on them, then they become something totally beautiful and cool. So I'm just gonna take a moment to go through the colorful ones. This is for me as much as it is for anyone, but it's mostly for me. But like, I'm gonna put it somewhere because, you know, that's just the energy that I'm feeling right now. So the first one we have up here is Confidence on Guitar. Oh, and the way that I'll go through them is like, I'll talk through them and then also talk about how I will achieve them. So Confidence on Guitar. They say that if you want to get really good at something, you need to practice it. And so this is my guitar. She's great. She doesn't have a name yet. We're going to try to, there you go, adjust the focus. She's beautiful. Love her. If you know a great name for a guitar, please let me know. We're working on her. But they say that you need to practice. And that's one thing that I always have trouble with, because I'm of this mindset of like, oh, well, I'm good enough. I'm good enough to do what I need to do. So there's almost like a part of me that's like, well, what's the point of practicing more? Well, if I want more confidence on guitar that like really translates in my performances and in my stage presence so that the whole package comes together, then I should really practice my guitar on a daily basis. And honestly, like, I think you have to make goals that make sense for your life, as well as things that you think that you can actually like sustainably do. And so my goal is to touch my guitar every single day in some type of way, completely consensually. That's kind of hard to do with an inanimate object, but it's fine. What I mean by that is basically the idea of just like touching my guitar, like practicing, whether it's just like going through a scale or just playing around with some chords, doing things that familiarize me with my instrument. Because like, I'm very familiar with my voice because I talk a lot. If you haven't noticed, but guitar is still relatively new for me. Like, I'm in my third year, so it's not like new, fresh baby new, but it's like new enough that I still need to build a relationship with it. And the best way to do that is by practicing. Yes. Okay. The one under it is The Love of a Good Man. And I won't spend too much time on this, but because it's very not music related, but I think it's still important on the grand scheme of things. So I like the idea of being the person that you want to attract. So, you know, I want a good, healthy, happy relationship where both entities, me and this person, are entering into this relationship with our cups full so that we overflow with each other's cups. And so I think that I need to continue to work on myself so that my cup runneth over and I can bring all of that goodness into a relationship. So, you know, I want to be with someone who's goofy and kind and funny and energetic, and just like, they don't have to be me and I don't have to be them, but I think it's important to be the things that you want. Or I don't know, that sounds weird, not in an unhealthy way, just like, if you put out good energy, you know, you put it out, you get it back. So like, that's how I'm gonna do that. Growth of social media, artist aesthetic, lyric writing, storytelling, and production. So I am an in-house artist, and what I mean by this is that I do everything myself. Social media, do all the posts. Artist aesthetic, still figuring that out. Lyric writing, all of the song stuff, like, unless I am collaborating with someone who has recorded the instrumentals or has like produced a beat, I do all of that stuff myself, including lyric writing, and then but like storytelling within the lyric writing, because that's like a little separate, and then production. So I do my own production on my stuff. So the way that I will achieve this goal is by being kind to myself in that growth, recognizing that that growth takes time and research. Like if I want to learn how to do something, there are so many avenues on the internet to just learn how to do it, and I have to just like suck it up and learn something new. You should learn something new every single day. So that's how I'll do that. That's like a general thing. But then we get something like this: engage followers on all platforms. So I think with this, what becomes important first is finding my audience, and you know, being an independent musician is being like a business person, marketer, as much as it is being a musician. So what I've been looking at or looking into is targeted, I guess like advertisements, and I don't know what the other word is right now, but it'll come later. But basically targeting my stuff to audiences that are more likely to engage with my material. So like that's the biggest thing, is finding the audience. And then when actually having that audience, I want to make sure that I am connecting with them. That's the reason why I do music, is because I want to connect with people. So I think it is important to find that audience. That's like first step. And then second step is to do what I can to connect with people, to engage, asking them questions. What do y'all want to see? You know, what like, from everything from like, you know, cover of a song to like, I don't know, looking forward in the future, what kind of merchandise or whatever would you guys like? So I think an engaged following comes from like an authentic drive to actually connect with people. And you know, I think I have that. So that's what we're gonna do for that. 1,000 Instagram followers by August 20th. So I like this goal because it has a number, and I've made it something that's like something to aspire towards, but not something that's so large and intimidating that I feel that it's not accomplishable by the time that I've set for myself. And I think with this, tapping into the marketing side of music and finding the audience, it literally is just like, I'm creating something that I think is great, that I believe in, that I think people will connect to, and I'm gonna put out that energy, and then finding the people. Basically, here I am tossing a ball, I am pitching, and I gotta find my catcher. I gotta find y'all to catch it, and that's that's that. So now we're gonna come over to this side of things. I'm just gonna flip it like this so you can see it like this, but we're gonna flip it right back. And so this side of things are the goals that are much longer term, and the ones that are intimidating if you don't break it down into segments. Because the thing that they say about success is that it's literally like a domino effect, and you want the dominoes that you are positioning to be like larger and larger. I mean, I guess you could topple dominoes that are the same size like across the board, but if you want to be able to topple the larger dominoes that happen further along in the chain, it's important to like kind of gradually increase the size so that like the density of the domino is able to, I don't know, I took physics, but like, did I really? I don't know. It was a blur. But basically, when it comes to like not tangential, when it comes to, oh my god, corporeal, I don't know what word I'm looking for. Things that are physical, that are like steeped in reality, things that are not metaphorical. There we go. So the idea of, oh my fucking god, I just completely forgot my entire train of thought. Just give me a second here. Well, that thought's gone. But 1,000 true fans. It's funny because I could literally just watch this back and then like finish the train of thought. But I don't think I'm going to do that because this just feels like full steam ahead. We're just going. But 1,000 true fans, this goal. So this comes with building that growth, like having that growth and building the spaces that are like engaged with the fans, with the followers, and honestly just like just like doing you, being me, and like really connecting with people. Because like, again, that's my favorite part of the process, is when I'm on stage singing and like knowing by the way that the room feels that like something I've said has affected someone in some way, and that an experience, although it is unique to the individual, it's being shared within the entire space, like across people. Like that is the most special feeling that like I am blessed to be able to create in the spaces that I've been in. And so I think that 1,000 True Fans comes from creating those connections in as many spaces as possible with as many people as possible. And you know, I have to be careful not to stretch myself too thin with that, because like you can't give everything to everyone all the time. But I think what that means for me is working on just like really engaging people. Like it's as much about you, the audience, it's as much about you guys as it is me. Like I get to create the music and express myself, but like again, it's like the catcher's mitt, like y'all are the receivers of it. So the idea that I can give something that y'all want to receive, and then there's a dialogue that can happen, you know, you tell me how you feeling, tell me what you want to hear, that's really special. So I think 1,000 True Fans comes from being as good of a listener as I am of a speaker. Yes, that is the way to say that. So that's how I will tangibly, intangibly achieve that goal. Next is 1,000,000 streams across platforms. So like that's a big ass goal, and that's why we put it on this side, because like that's gonna take some time. And you know what, we got time. I'm in it for the long haul. So 1,000,000 streams across platforms. What that comes from is creating quality content, because that's what it's always going to be about for me. Like creating things that really matter and that I've enjoyed making, again, because I'm trying to put out that energy that people will catch at. You would think like I like played like baseball or softball, but I like really didn't. I did dance. But I think there's a push-pull in dance that maybe I'm also gonna try to attribute to the throwing type sports. But anyway, so 1,000,000 streams across platforms comes with time. And that comes with, again, being a marketer as much as I am a musician. You know, I'm not going to create music just to be popular or just to make popular songs, because I do think that I have the capacity to create music that people will connect with regardless. Like I just want my intention to be good and have integrity. But with that being said, it is important still to market efficiently and to have confidence in what I'm creating and to put that out like that. So I think I'm gonna have to be a little bit savvier. I'm gonna have to grow my skill set when it comes to marketing, and things of that nature. To make sure it's just being heard by people, and doing things on my part with social media to engage people in a way where they see it and then they want to connect with it and then they want to share it. Like that's the biggest thing. Like how do you turn someone who is a fan into someone who's so much of a fan that they want to share their music with other people? And I thought about that myself when I've shared music that I've heard with other people. And I really do think the biggest part of that is creating something that's actually good. And then the second part of that is like, you know, the everything else that kind of comes around it. But like that's going to be my focus, is making good music and like finding the spaces that it is going to do well in. And that's how I'm going to achieve that goal. 100,000 followers across platforms. Similarly, I am creating content that people want to interact with, pay attention to, and is good quality content. I have the hardest time sometimes. I can be the biggest perfectionist, and it'll take me hours to create like a 2-minute video. It will take me days to adjust like one track, like vocal track, like when I'm doing like my like full scale intense production, days to do just like one vocal track. And that's because I really do care about the end goal. Of course, it's important not to get lost in the details so that you can always come back to the big picture. But like, that's just who I am. And so I think if I continue to create positive quality content that people want to engage with, that just comes with time. Collaborating with Jacob Collier. So this is one that's like near and dear to my heart. A good friend of mine who was also the bassist, one of the bassists in my band. Hello, Ian. Or the band that I was a part of. It's not my band. I just like sang, so I know when people are like the singers, usually they're like, they refer to it as like my band, but like it was like the band. The Masaharu Effect was our name, with great members, just like across all of the years. But one of the members, who is also like a really good friend of mine, he put me on to Jacob Collier, and it was like a year or two ago. He showed me one of the videos that he did in his YouTube infancy. He wasn't an infant baby Jacob at the time. He was already pretty established at this point, and I was just really late to that party. But he showed me a video of him. I don't even remember what song it was, but he was doing his like 8-part harmony bliss thing. And I have always been a big fan of the harms. I call them the parms. You can call them the harms, the parms, Parmesan cheese, all of that good shit. It was interesting. I just hesitated because I was like, do I want to brand myself as cursing? And like sometimes I do curse, so like we'll just keep that in there. It's fine. But I heard this man, and I kept watching his content because it was so good. And I was like, well, this man's a musical genius. And I don't even have to be the only person who thinks that, because like that should just be a well-known and accepted fact at this point. And I think it is. I don't think there's any question that he's a musical genius. But like the thing that really makes me want to collaborate with him is that he understands music so well. Like I think personally, I don't know a lot about theory whatsoever, but I have an intuition that makes it easier for me to navigate music. And I think that Jacob has both an intuition and like a capacity to understand theory, and the way that he uses those two things like simultaneously just makes the most impressive music. I don't even know what more to say about it. It's just so impressive, and it's so layered and complex, but like comes across, it's just good. Like, and I don't even have to know theory to appreciate all of the things that his brain does to make the music that he does. But then also knowing that a lot of that is just intuitive. He's just intuiting things when it comes to like, you know, his riffing or his like soloing spaces. And I just think that that's just like cool as hell. And so I want to collaborate with him because I really respect him as a musician. And I think that I could bring cool, good things to the things that he does musically, because I'll have my moments of where I'm just like, and then it's like, oh wait, that was kind of good. And so like I could do that, and then he could do his like, see, like mine was like descending and then his was ascending, so that they complement each other, and we could just make some beautiful music. And I think that, yep, that's okay. So the question of how I'm gonna do that, great question. You know, I think it's important to build a following, not just to have a following and to interact with the, with the fans that you're building and the creation in that space. But I think it's also important to build a following because it demonstrates that like you've put in the effort. You've put in the effort, you're getting a return on that effort. And I don't know, in my mind, it demonstrates that you're working hard, and that you deserve then to work with bigger and bigger people, because you put the time in. They've put the time in to get to where they are. And then a larger, so like more, I don't know, because like it's not all about the numbers, but larger numbers to me indicate that you're doing something well, and you're doing something good, and you're doing it well, and that you care about it, you put the effort into it, and hopefully you are deserving of that effort. The fruits of your labor have paid off. And so I would like to get to a station where I do have more of a following, and I'm more established. That's the word. I'm more established, so that it feels like when I get to that point, I'm exactly where I need to be, and I deserve to be there in the space with someone who has done so much to get to where they are, and deserves so much and has so much because of what good they have done in music. I don't know. A lot of words that basically boil down to it's gonna take time. And then lastly, ooh, this is the one that hits real hard. Not my Eucerin lotion or my tree of earrings. No. A Grammy for songwriting. So this is my last little tidbit, my last little point. So that's like the ultimate thing, right? So you've accumulated all of these streams, you've built this huge following, you're doing great shows, you're connecting with people, you're meeting fans, you're literally living the dream. That is the dream that I want to live. And I think that, oh, I just popped my ankle. I don't know if y'all heard that. That was a good crack. The biggest thing that comes, not at the end of that, like that's going to be the end of my career, but like a big thing to shoot for is a Grammy, right? Because like that's like the ultimate excellence. Other than like obviously the other ways in which you are making a difference in the lives of people, like I think that's the biggest goal that you should have, is just like making a difference for the better. But when we're talking about like physical, tangible things, you know, a Grammy, while it is technically worthless, if you know, you're thinking like relatively speaking, like, you know, humans, we as human beings, we assign all value to everything. And so like a chunk of metal that's fashioned into a, what is that? It's like the thing that they would put on records so that it would amplify the sound. I don't know what that's called, but basically, you know, a metal one of those, you know, yes, no, it doesn't have any inherent value in itself as an object, but obviously it has value in what it means and like the institution. Sorry, got caught off there. So it has inherent value in the institution around it, and basically it is the ultimate just kind of like object. Yeah, I'm just gonna, it's the ultimate object that symbolizes the work and the effort that you have put into what you have done. So musically, so specifically, I would want to achieve a Grammy for songwriting, because you know there are Grammys musically for a lot of different categories, but songwriting specifically, because like that's the biggest thing to me. Like in the songs that I write, I am trying to tell stories, and if I get to the point, when I get to the point of recognition of like the stories that I'm telling are so powerful that they've resonated on that scale with so many people, such a large audience, that's like an ultimate feeling for me. So that's one of those long scale goals. But like what I tried to do was I tried to make it so it's like, okay, so you get nya, and then you get nya, and then nya. So it's like sequential. And like this one isn't so sequential. Like I wasn't as intentional with the way that I pieced these together, the way that I actually framed these. But I think that this because it, again, like goals, what you have to do to make them actually achievable is to break them down into smaller pieces. Because like the big goals, these goals, I definitely, you know, there was a space and time in my life where I wouldn't have even put these up because it was just so unfathomable. How do you say that word? Not to be fathomed that I could ever get to the point of achieving these goals. But like the mindset that I'm in now is, let me do some of all of these other things to create the building blocks, the dominoes, and the dominoes within this metaphor that get larger and larger with every single domino, every step, to topple over these goals here that are very large and very aspirational. But I'm gonna do all of them, is what I've decided. And again, I can't emphasize enough, like, if you knew me, if you knew me a couple of years ago and like really knew me, like not like just knew me on the surface, because I think if you saw me on the surface, you would have thought that because I was so like bubbly and personable, that I was super confident as well. And I kept doing things despite the fact that I struggled with issues with self-esteem. So I think if you had really known me, you wouldn't have thought that I would speak in such a way where I was like, well, no, it's just going to happen. Like, I've already decided it for myself. And I really like that I've gotten to that point, because it's just matter of fact. I'm like, I'm gonna do everything in my pot and like in my, oh my god, what's the turn of phrase? I'm gonna do everything in my ability. That sounds close enough. To do these things that I want to do to achieve these goals, and I'm gonna take them step by step so that one, I get to enjoy the ride, and it's not just about the goal, but it's about like the experiences that are interwoven with the goals themselves. Because happiness is a choice, and you should not make happiness a benchmark, like, because that is just a recipe for disaster. But I think that I want clear focus. I know my purpose, and I want clear focus on what I want to achieve. And these are some of the things that I want to achieve. Of course, I didn't put absolutely everything up on this vision board because, again, like, the love of a good man was kind of stuck in there in a weird spot because, like, everything else around the vision board is musically related, but, like, I just felt that was important at this time, so, like, we're gonna keep it up there. But yeah, I just wanted to show this off because I am now a firm believer in the importance of speaking things into existence, like manifesting your life. And the way that I think about manifestation is, it's really inherently psychological, where you are writing down your goals, which is powerful in and of itself, because writing in terms of like, I'm not going to get into this because I don't actually know the full psychology of things, but based off of the things that I've read that like I have synthesized and absorbed, but I cannot recall at this moment, writing things down is important. Talking about things is important to a degree. It's important not to over talk it, and to be mindful of the audience that you're speaking to, because it can be just as detrimental as it can be positive to be talking about your goals and things that are really vulnerable with the wrong audience, depending on how they react. And you can't always account for that, but you kind of know who's going to be like rooting for you and who's not going to be, and who's going to be like trying to be more realistic with you, and that's important as well. But like people who are just going to keep you down, you just like keep these things to yourself. And so this is what happens when tangents happen. I'm just like, what was the original point? I don't know. We jump around a lot. In conclusion, the thesis of this video is that I think it's important for me to continue to put myself out there in a myriad of ways, and that's how I'm doing this. Also, my heater is coming in, for its solo, so I'm just gonna end the video there. But thank you all for listening, and I'm hoping that this is gonna be a really dope thing to look back on once a lot of these things have been put into motion. Yeah, so, have a lovely evening. That's what I plan on doing. And thank you for watching. Goodbye.